Hey there, so in the video you're about to watch, I talk about the conscious and the subconscious mind. And in this video, I explain how you can renew your mind and how you can get rid of the junk which has been programmed in your subconscious, and you begin to fill it up with new stuff which will then run your life and help you to succeed in life. I'm really excited today because I'm sharing with you one of the key and important topics that I am excited about, but I also take very seriously, and that is the mind. A lot of people ask the question about the mind and how to renew the mind, and I thought it would be good to do this video and share with you some really important but key things that you must understand about your mind, which will help you in your everyday life. And in most cases, I believe it will change the trajectory of your life going forward. So it's important you stay to the end of this video, because I'm going to be mentioning very key and important things that you need to be aware of and you need to practicalize through your process of trying to renew your mind. Before we start, we'd obviously need to understand what the mind is. The mind is the place, or the mind is a very important, your mind is a very important part of you as a human being. Obviously, your mind is a part of you that you cannot see. Nobody can see the mind. But the mind carries a lot of potential, carries a lot within it, because it's a thinking faculty. The mind, when you were born, is something like this. Maybe not exactly like this, probably has a few things in there. But the mind in itself is empty. The mind is split into two. You have what you call the conscious mind, and you have the subconscious mind. I'll come to exactly what the conscious mind and the subconscious mind is in a short while. But when you're born, there is nothing in your conscious mind or your subconscious mind. It is almost empty. And between the ages of 0 and 7, according to research, that is when you begin to build your knowledge base. You absorb things in your environment, you absorb things from your parents, you absorb things from your family and people who are around you, and that is how you start to build your knowledge base. So by the time you're 7, according to scientists, you've built quite a number of programs within your subconscious mind. And when I say programs, you have to think about it like a new operating system. A computer, when you buy a computer, it has an operating system, but there is no software installed. You don't have Microsoft Word, you don't have any of your applications that you would love to install on there. So it's an empty, pretty much an empty operating system. You then start installing things that you want to install on there. When a child is born, it is the same thing or similar. The child is like a fresh operating system. Then things start to get installed on there. Majority of them are absorbed. Now, what is the conscious and the subconscious? Your conscious mind is your conscious mind. I think that sounds obvious, but it is where you are aware. It is the part of you within your consciousness or your mind that shows your level of awareness. When you are aware, if I took a phone call, or perhaps even now that I'm teaching you, I am using my conscious mind because I'm aware of what I'm doing. I'm conscious of what I'm trying to my objective here, and I'm trying to follow that through. Obviously, there is part of my subconscious that is in operation, but majority of what is controlling this particular teaching today is my conscious mind. On the other hand, your subconscious mind is the part of your mind that is below, and that is why it's called sub. It is below. It is like a storage house. And just think about it this way, that you create things in your conscious mind, and the conscious mind is the creative mind, and you then program them and store them in your subconscious mind, so that you can consistently access that part of your mind and use or run programs wherever you need to or whenever you need to. One example would be walking. When a child learns how to walk, they never need to learn how to walk again for the rest of their lives. Obviously, except they had an accident or they lost some form of mobility or something happened. Otherwise, you don't have to learn how to walk again. what happens there is that your creative mind you learn how to walk, and then that is then pushed into your storehouse, which is your subconscious mind, and the program is kept there. And every time you need to walk, your subconscious mind runs the program, and then you start to walk. So you're not even thinking about it when you're walking, you're just walking. Okay, that is just to explain what the conscious mind and the subconscious mind is all about. So let's go back to what we're saying about newborn children. When you're born, you have nothing written or no program within your subconscious mind, but then people start to put values in. If you, like from a family where parents use curse words, or they hurt each other, or they abuse each other, all that becomes part of what builds up into your subconscious mind. Because how it works is this: when something is repeated, and I'm going to share that towards the middle to the end of the video, so make sure you stay all the way to the end, because I'll share how things are created and then pushed down to your subconscious shortly. Let's get back into this. Within this, you absorb things in your environment, your values, the value system that your parents teach you and you absorb from other people. You sort of fill this up with a lot of programs, and from what scientists have told us, majority of your life is run based on programs that were written between the ages of 0 and 7 years old. They've also told us that 70% of those programs were negative and disempowering. This is from research. So it means whatever it is you learned between those ages, which is now in your subconscious, majority of it is either negative or it is disempowering, or both. Okay, so it's important that we go back to that subconscious mind and we rewrite it, and that is why I did this video, renewing your mind. So another important fact: every day scientists tell us that on the average we use 5% of our conscious mind, and 95% of the time we're on autopilot. So we're using our subconscious. A lot of times, I mean, think about it. When you receive a call, sometimes you just pick it. The first time you learned how to use a phone, yes, you learned what to press or what button to press. Sometimes you even pressing your phone subconsciously. You naturally would do certain things. You know how to make coffee or stuff like that. Once you learned it, you just run that program. Your subconscious runs that program, and when you get it, just press the button, you press the microwave, you press whatever you need to press, and that is your subconscious running. So I sort of agree with them when they say a large percent of, a huge number of times, 95% of the time, we are using our subconscious mind every day, and just 5% of the time. But that raises a big question, because that is dangerous, because it depends on what has been programmed in your subconscious. If what has been programmed in your subconscious is the wrong program, then the kind of programs that will be running there will be disempowering and they will be negative. And that is why it's important that you renew your mind and make sure that whatever is in that program is the right, or are the right value systems, are the right beliefs, and they aid you or help you make the right choices. So hopefully this has given us an overview of the mind, because the next, once I flip this board over, I'm going to share with you how to renew your mind. And the good part of it is possible to remove those programs and put new ones. I'll flip this board and then we'll go straight into it. So a very interesting fact is in scripture, in Ephesians chapter 4 and verse 23. It talks about renewing your mind. It talks about renewing the spirit of your mind. What is the spirit of your mind? The spirit of your mind is the sub part, the innermost part of your mind, which is the subconscious. And that is exactly what scripture is saying in Ephesians 4:23. It is saying that you should continuously, or you should renew your mind. And that is what we're talking about today. So this is very relevant to everyone, whoever you might be. It is important that you renew your mind. But I'm going to share with you how you can renew your mind. Another scripture which talks about it is Colossians chapter 3 and verse 2, which talks about setting your mind on the things which are above and not the things which are below. I'm not going to go into the details of the scripture, but again, it is talking about setting your mind. It's talking about reprogramming your mind on certain things which are above and not the things which are below. So another scripture to help you there in terms of what we're talking about and the importance of what we're talking about. So let's go straight into it. Here I've shared with you, and on the previous board, when the board was on the other side, I shared with you the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. Okay, let's just use this small drawing here as just so that you can remember what we had done on the other slide. Okay. So on here, let's take this as our thoughts. If you can't see it very clearly, this is thoughts, emotions, beliefs, confirmation, and conviction. This is the process by which we create things in the conscious mind, and then from this point things are transferred to the subconscious mind. Let me explain. Either internally or externally, a thought can be generated. This thought could be somebody saying something to you, or it could be you thinking about something. So let me use an example. Let's say I think that I'm not a very confident person, and this is an internal thought, and so I've just shared with you this external, or it could be internal. Somebody could tell me that I'm not a very bold person, or I could start to think, don't think I'm a very bold person, right? On the basis of that, if I attach an emotion to it, it becomes a belief. But what does this mean? I'll give you an example. If I attach an emotion to it, so if that thought comes to my mind and I start to feel insecure, so I start to feel insecurity, which is an emotion, and it could be fear, it could be anything. I start to feel an emotion, or I allow an emotion to embrace this thought. It then creates a belief in my mind. At that point, it is still not really too bad. It is a belief, but the belief is not, it's not a conviction. So the belief can still be erased. But when it is a belief, that spells trouble, because the next stage is that from that belief, consciously or subconsciously, you start to look for a confirmation. So if I had the thought that I'm not a very bold person, and then obviously it made me feel insecure, and obviously created a belief. If I was scrolling through, or if I was at home and my mother was having a conversation and said, you're not after all, you're not even a very bold person, that will be confirmation. In fact, because I had all of that and that belief system was in me, the moment somebody says that, it becomes a confirmation. So that confirms what I had as a belief. That confirmation then creates a conviction, because I'm now convinced that what I believed is true because it has been confirmed. I'll use another example. Assuming I had a thought that I don't know how to teach, so everything I'm doing here is not effective, and I started to feel that way in my mind, and it made me insecure, so I put an emotion to it. That would create a belief. And after this video, if I read through the comments and I sought a confirmation and somebody said, oh, this video is rubbish, that's the confirmation. And from that confirmation, it creates a conviction. I'm now convinced, wow, I actually don't know how to teach. And based on that conviction, if that repeats itself a few times, it firms up that conviction. That conviction is then sent as a program into my subconscious. So I then subconsciously begin to have insecurity anytime I'm supposed to teach. And that continuously, if that continues to happen, it continues to tighten the knot, it continues to reaffirm that no, you're not good enough, and then it sends straight into the subconscious. And that is how we create programs in the subconscious. The good part of this process is that you can use it to your advantage. I'll show you two ways, or two things. One is, the moment I had that thought, if somebody said it to me and said, you're not a very bold person, If it means nothing to me, it doesn't go all the way down. It stops at that point. So it just stops here. It doesn't go all the way to emotions. It just stops there. Somebody says, oh, you're not very good. Yeah, big deal. I don't put an emotion to it. It doesn't become a belief. Obviously, I don't look for confirmation. I'm not convinced. So there's no conviction. So that never goes into my subconscious. But on the positive side, if somebody says you're a very bold person and you put an emotion to it, maybe it gives you confidence. Maybe that makes you happy. You're excited about it. You then obviously believe it. You can go out of your way to start looking for confirmation. One of the ways you could confirm it is that you actually go out and you begin to talk in places or talking, in front of crowds, and you probably couldn't talk in front of crowds before. And once you're able to do that, that gives you confirmation. Or maybe you could go to ask someone, what do you think about my presentation that I did the other day? And the person tells you, oh, that was wonderful, you did it, you're a very bold person. And that, again, that creates a confirmation. And then, obviously, that creates a conviction in your mind that you are actually a bold person. Same thing with the other example I gave about a video or about teaching. If somebody affirmed in the comment section and said, you're a really good teacher, which people have told me, by the way. Anyway, and that creates a belief, obviously, then a confirmation, and then a conviction. If that happens a few times, if it repeats itself, at some point it then goes into my subconscious, and that becomes my belief. This is how you renew your mind. Your mind is then renewed, and you have to make sure that you're in control of these things, of what comes all the way down and then goes into your subconscious mind. So make sure that it's reinforced. You're reinforcing the right thoughts, the right belief system, the right value system, and not the negative and disempowering ones which are already there. Now I'm sure you're going to say, well, but there are already things there. True. But what happens with this is it overwrites things that are there. So if you had a disempowering program which was based on confidence, and you've rewritten another program within that same line which is on confidence. If the previous one was lack of confidence, or I lack confidence, but now I've rewritten it with I have a lot of confidence, that will then obviously rewrite that in your subconscious. So that is how you gradually begin to rewrite your programs, and over time you realize that you're in a much better place than you were before, because your mind, whenever the programs that are being launched, or the kind of programs that are being launched are more empowering ones, because you've rewritten everything that is in there. And that is what Ephesians 4:23 was talking about when he said renewing your mind. Specifically, it was referring to not just renewing your mind in scripture, but renewing your mind in how you see things generally in the world. And obviously, again, Colossians 3:2 telling you to set your mind on the things which are above and not beneath. Hit subscribe, smash the notification button, like or share. Anything you need to do to get this out there, do it. You know how we do it.